Welcome back to another episode of Excuse My Grandma. It's Kim and my co-host.
Grandma Gail.
We are Zooming for our podcast right now because I'm in New York City and Grandma, you're in Florida. And this was really easy for you to log on, right?
Oh, yeah. It only took an hour for me to figure out how to work this computer. This is not going to be a career choice of mine to how to learn how to Zoom. I think I need somebody here to log us in. It was very difficult. It
But
really was.
and you did do it. So it's
I
not
did
like
do it, but the things are so little that I have to put magnifying glasses on. So I feel sorry for all of us over 50 who really can't see clearly anymore to go on these Zoom calls. It's not so easy. So kudos to all of you who can do it.
yeah, I mean, also there are features you can add on like a magnifying tool and
Well, I
things.
think I'm doing that next time.
Yeah, next time.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'll set that up for you.
I think that was on Windows 11. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
you know what? We should have done that.
yeah. Well, we did
They
it.
were, they were our sponsors and I forgot to use it. I'm sorry, guys, at Microsoft.
Yeah. Anyway, let's catch up. How are you?
Everything is fine. Well, this week you went back, so I've been partying since you left. Firstly, I went with some girls to Sawgrass, which is the fashion outlet out in Sawgrass, which is about an hour from where I live. And we had a road trip. We had a lot of fun. I bought a pair of shoes that I'm sure I'm never going to wear. We had a delicious lunch there. The Asian chicken salad is delicious. And it was just getting away from our normal routine. So that was fun. And then one day I went to 3 lectures. I was so depressed by the end of the day between the Middle East and what's going on with healthcare and all these different problems in the community. I was exhausted. So then I decided I was going to relax and take it easy for a couple of days till spoke to you now on Zoom. I think it's
Why?
more relaxing to have you here.
Why?
Because the subjects of all these things down. First of all, you could be busy 24/7 down here with different speakers. I'm going to listen to John Bolton this afternoon. The world is in a mess. So I think I'd rather just have fun with you and not deal with all this stress. It's really getting very, very heavy here.
I see what you're saying. I feel like you could, even if I was there, if you were going to those lectures, like it would be the same. But you're saying like you don't
But I wouldn't go to 3 in one day.
yeah, 'cause, right. We would be doing things. And
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, it's important to know what's going on and be
Oh, yeah.
informed, but you obviously don't want to like overwhelm yourself.
I
So
think your brain can only take on 1 lecture a day. That's
yeah.
going to be now today, 5 o'clock is my 1 lecture. That's just enough. Because it's
Know anyone who like goes to lectures, or maybe they don't call it lectures. Like I feel like they call it like events or speaking like panels. Like I never hear a friend saying they're going to a lecture.
well, these are lectures.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to going to the museum and you're basically listening to somebody speak, you're not interacting. Let's put it that way. You're sitting in a chair listening. So in my vernacular, that's called a lecture.
Yeah. So that was your socializing plans?
Well, that was my daytime plans. Played cards a little bit. Then Sunday, this past weekend, we had almost a tornado-like weather conditions. So I took to my bed and I started watching one of those programs on Hulu called Feud, which is Truman Capote's.
I'm watching that.
Oh my gosh, it's fabulous.
So good.
The
But I'm only like,
actresses are so great, and he's beyond.
yeah,
He
I don't know what Truman Capote was like. I've never seen videos of him or
he
anything.
looks just like the actor. Very similar. I mean, this is amazing.
Yeah. No, it's a good show. And obviously we love the 60s time period. So I feel like they're so fun with the fashion and
Yeah,
like,
but they were pretty shallow ladies. These women were not representative of the populace. These were a very small group of socialites who he hung out with because he really liked them and wanted to live their lifestyle. They were not typical of women. They were not typical of me sitting in the 60s,
okay.
believe me.
Yeah.
This was a stratosphere that was on the tippy top of white socialites.
Right.
That's what they were.
Right.
And people aspired to look like them, they created the fashion, but they were very, very shallow women. I mean, they were not anything of depth.
Yeah. Okay.
You
Well,
wouldn't want to emulate. They were not no Ruth Ginsburgs.
yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm only 2 episodes in, so I guess I'll have to see more.
Yeah, I'm finished.
Like the main character, the woman, had like some depth.
Babe Paley. Babe Paley was married to
Yeah.
Bill Paley, who was the head of CBS.
These were real people.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, he wrote about real people. That was the problem. He didn't, he saw he was trying to befriend them, but on the other hand, he was taking their lives and mocking them and showing the public what they were really like. So they got very angry at him, as rightfully so. I mean, he was befriending them, being their friends, but on the other hand, he was writing articles about them in Esquire. So it was it was nasty.
Yeah. Okay. So you were busy watching that show.
Yeah, Sunday I was busy. Then I took a bridge lesson. I've been going out at night with some friends. So it's been very pleasant. The weather's lovely. So you can't complain about that.
The
And
weather in New York, though, is like unmatched. This past Sunday was like 65 and sunny. I
right,
walked around the West Village. Everybody was out and about. Like,
great.
that is when New York
It's
is.
fabulous. What's a touch of spring is coming. You know, spring is coming because this Sunday it's daylight savings time. We lose an hour. So it's always this time of the year that New York comes alive.
Well, I feel like every day, like people are saying, like, how miserable it is until you have a day like that. And then you remember, okay, that's why we're here.
Exactly.
Have like,
Exactly.
is that the energy and people are like, it's so insane.
There's no city like it. When spring comes and you start getting a little bit of warm weather, everybody blossoms, and pretty soon you'll get some blossoms out there. That's happening too. It's March, so it happens.
Yeah. I will say I feel like I've gone overboard on the socializing because I feel like when I'm in Florida, since I split my time when I'm in New York, I'm like, okay, I have to get everything in and I have to be busy every day and whatever. And I feel like I need to chill a little bit because I've definitely been busy day and night with like
Well,
social.
maybe you're overdoing it.
I
Maybe
feel
you're
like
overdoing
that,
it a
I feel like you're not gonna like, I feel like I've gone back to the serial dating mindset too, because it's like, while I'm here, I want to go out with everyone who has asked me out. And then it's like, oh, you can't go out with 4 or 5 people in a week. It's
No,
just
that's no good. That's no
tough.
good.
So I'm trying
Grow
to,
up. Grow up.
no, it's yeah, it's like I don't want to like say no to setups.
No, I know, but sometimes it's overwhelming. You got to spread it out over the
I
next
say to
couple of weeks.
someone, oh, like they asked me out and I'm like, I'm free 3 weeks from now because you don't want to like double people up. Like that's even worse.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's a happy medium. You got to figure it out.
Yeah, maybe this is a me problem. But yeah, that's pretty much been the thing. I've tried a few new restaurants and stuff. I went to this Thai place called Sape and it was very authentic. It was super cool. Like, I probably I don't know what kind of meats I was eating, honestly, because I was like, "Oh, bring the most popular dishes." But it's in the Chelsea neighborhood and a lot of like it was all young people, and so that was pretty fun.
Well, that reminds me. I was watching an episode of Somebody Feed Phil. It's a new season,
Oh, good.
and I loved it. They had India on. It was actually his first one, and I had been to that hotel in Mumbai. But I must say, I was in India for 2 weeks. I never ate on those streets like he ate. I mean, he's lucky he's alive, but he's so
What's obsessed
entertaining.
with him, and like the season is so good. Like
Yeah.
he just gets better.
He
It's
gets better and better, and now he's got his daughter in there and his son and his wife. I enjoy it. I like the whole thing, but he takes you to out of the way places. I'd actually like to go back to a Kyoto, which I haven't been to in 40 years. Looks so beautiful on the series that I really am. I would love to go back to Japan. That could be a destination I would love to go to.
Japanese tea ceremony and all of that. Like that
Oh, it
would be
was beautiful. It's a beautiful city anyway. It's a historic city. And I remember going when I was there, I was much, much younger and I had very long blonde hair. And in those days, I'm talking about the 70s, they didn't see that many Americans and they were taking pictures of my friend and I, and they thought we were movie stars. But it's a
oh yeah.
beautiful, It's a very pretty city, and it's, it's, the people are so lovely, and that is a place I want to go back to. Of course, we had Super Tuesday this week, Kim. So the candidates are pretty well on their way to the presidential election in November. I mean, whatever it is, it is. So I hope that we have some kind of what would you call it, civility in this campaign, unlike the 2016. I have a feeling it's not 2020. I mean, I'm sure it's not going to be, but that's behind us now. So we have things to look forward to, an entire spring and summer of campaign ads.
Yeah. Wait, speaking of TV shows, are you caught up on Curb?
I did. I watched two of them. I think the third one that I love the one where he on the golf course.
Disgruntled.
Oh, disgruntled. I loved. I love that. Yeah, when the friend put up the sign, he didn't like this, he didn't like that, and
You didn't watch this past Sunday?
no, I think you have to wait a few days before I can get it. For some reason, I have a problem. It takes me a
Get it
week.
right away.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to try it tonight. I watched two of them last night.
Okay, so I guess we can't really comment, but do you like the season so far?
I love it. Of course, I love all of it. It's sort of sad that it's ending because I've enjoyed it so much, but I can understand where he's tired. It's 23 seasons. He's had enough. But
And Victor Lewis just passed away.
yes, well, that was his best friend from childhood. And the second episode of this new season, he was in it. So it must have been filmed like 6 or 8 months ago.
He did most of the episodes.
No, but that was his last one before
Oh,
he passed.
he was in the one last night.
Oh, really? Oh, all right. Okay.
Oh, in the whole season.
So these must have been filmed the past fall or over the summer.
Definitely. Okay, so I want to talk about some relevant headlines. The Oscars are this coming Sunday. So
I hope Boys in the Boat win. Are they up for anything?
not Best
George
Picture.
Clooney?
Not Best Picture. I don't know.
I didn't see any of the other movies. I have no idea. What's up for the best picture? Oh, I'm sure Oppenheimer. Well, I mean, that should win everything anyway.
Boys in the Boat.
That I saw a year ago. It seems so long ago since I saw that last year.
So it's American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro,
Right, that's a big popular one.
Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, The Zone of Interest. I feel like that's a lot.
Right. Well, they always have a lot, and then they zero it in. I have a feeling Oppenheimer and the moon thing is going to win all of it. I haven't seen that one. I think that's about Native American woman.
I watched like half of it. It's a little.
Do you like it?
No, it's not my kind of movie.
Okay.
Like, sure, I'm sure like there's a lot of talent that went into it and whatever, but
right. Okay. I didn't see. I wanted to see Holdover. That's actually.
I like that
one. Did you like that? I like him. I like
that. I don't think it'll win Best Picture,
right.
but I think it was like enjoyable.
I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to win Best Actor. I think they're all going to win from Oppenheimer. I think that's going to be it's going to be a complete landslide.
It was an Oppenheimer.
Yep.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
Yes. Because we saw it so long ago.
Do you have a favorite award show?
I don't really watch any of it. I watch the last half an hour. I usually tune in around 11:15 because I'm not really, I know they're wonderful. All the little ancillary awards that they give out are very important, but I really don't care. And I don't like any of the music from any of them. So I'm not even interested in listening to the songs. But the last half an hour when they get to the best actor and the best movie is what I like to tune in on. So
I like Red Carpet.
You like that. I know that.
But I kind of just watch the highlights like on Instagram now because I can't sit and watch
like for 3 hours. It's just so boring.
I can just see a picture of like whoever it is on Instagram.
Exactly. I think is Jimmy Kimmel live? Is Jimmy Kimmel doing he's hosting?
Oh, I don't know.
I think he's the host this year. So he should be pretty good.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it is also kind of hard to get. Like, I never know, like, can you stream it? or like it's just on
Oh, I
cable?
don't know. That I don't know. I watch it on regular television, so you guys don't watch that.
Do you miss like what were the Oscars like 50 years ago?
Well, it was different because we all went to the movies. It's not even 50 years ago. Let's say it's pre-COVID. We used to love, that was my favorite activity, going to a movie and having popcorn and licorice in the movie theater with Poppy, or when I was dating in high school or
Yeah.
college. So now I never go to a movie theater. I end up waiting for the movie to be on, one of the streaming channels. So it's sort of, it's so different. And I'm not happy about it because I did love going to the movies, but it's just what it is. And I don't like the science fiction movies, so I don't really go to those. And those really look better on the big screens, on the IMAX and all those.
Like right now that everyone's seeing Dune too. I feel like that's the kind of thing you should see in a theater because it's like that
Right.
sci-fi kind of stuff. Um,
Right.
well, it's not sci-fi, but I don't know.
That's
Um,
what I'm saying. So unless you like that, it's great for the kids. They all like that.
yeah, I feel like the old Hollywood watching and knowing every celebrity that was on TV was probably a different experience than
Oh, yeah. Well, then
all.
we had superstars and they rotated, which they do here now too. Some of the biggest stars are still in the same in the popular movies, but you knew those stars. You saw them all the time. They were glamorous. They were you really didn't know them, but you thought you knew them. And it was all made up. I mean, the studios really created images around their stars, and unfortunately, in most cases, ruined the stars' lives because they controlled every facet of it. That you don't have anymore. So, which is better for actors and actresses, that's for sure. But it was a very different time, and I think most of it is because people don't want to share the experience going into a theater.
Yeah, interesting. I'm sure like watching celebrities age and evolve and whatever is also kind of crazy.
Right. Well, we saw that with the Jane Fondas and the different stars that we have watched in the movies. They're still wonderful, but we're seeing them at home or on our laptops more than seeing them on the big screen.
Who was like the perfect couple, celebrity couple growing up in
When
Hollywood?
I was growing up, well, the couple that really that people were in love with were Catherine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy, and that was a love affair that spanned many, many years, even though they never married because he never got divorced from his wife. That was something that people just loved to see.
Or how could they even show up
Them.
for years and stuff together?
What
If,
do you?
but like they, if it was kind of a secret, right? Like,
It wasn't a secret. Their affair was not a secret. It was just they never talked about his being married.
oh, interesting. So they would still show up at
They
premiere.
would they were a couple. I mean, they weren't, they were what they were, but they were very private people. The big stars in Hollywood in the 40s, 50s, maybe less so in the 60s, really started creating a privacy kind of thing around their relationships because the press was so invasive. It's like what you see now in the about the royals. You don't want to know every single thing when those poor people are, you know, not well. Do we have to zoom in on their lives? I mean, that's what Hollywood used to do. And then it changed because people wanted their privacy and they were big enough stars and they didn't listen to it wasn't like Elvis was run by his manager in the 50s and 60s and it ruined his life and they put him on drugs and to keep him up on their, that they were always up. And that had to stop. I mean, it ruined stars like Judy Garland. It was so terrible for the actors themselves and the singers. So hopefully now we're all in a much better place and the actors have much more control over their careers. So it's really a different world. And I think for the better. I mean, the quality of the films maybe are different. I think they're still terrific. I mean, you get a movie like Oppenheimer and it brings you in to the story and it's so beautifully done. And also Barbie. How brilliant was that? I mean, it's still very creative people creating things, but they do it on their own terms.
Yeah. I feel like then at some point celebrity couples became a thing that like almost their managers or whoever probably were pushing of like, oh,
Yeah.
like a lot of the time they weren't even real, but
They
you want
weren't real.
next
Most of it was made up.
celebrity like Brad and Angelina or whatever, like those couples that I guess that one was real, but like a lot of them that kind of made them even more famous
Well,
or
it's
like
like Rock Hudson and Doris Day. That was a big makeup. I
the
mean,
two were
I
in a
mean,
movie together and
yeah,
you
well,
want
they were in a million movies
right
together.
exactly and you want those movies to do well. You
Correct.
like you yeah. Like I feel like Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens was like the whole like from High School Musical since they starred in that Disney movie together. Then like everyone loved that they were a couple in real life, and then obviously,
Okay, but most of the time they break up because it's not a real relationship.
yeah. Okay. Also, the other topic, March is Women's History Month. So
Okay.
going back, any women you want to call out that you admire?
Well, I admire people who made a difference when women weren't as prominent in a society, such as Madeleine Albright, who was our Secretary of State. Um, of course, you know I always talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg because she made such a major difference in and was on the Supreme Court, as were others, women that were just breaking through in the 70s and 80s. But I admire my mother because my mother was a woman who raised a family, had a life of her own. She wasn't a business person, but she enjoyed being with her friends. She gave back to society. She was active in charities in our town, as well as, on a larger overseas network of charities that she supported. So I admire all women who really doing what they like to do. I mean, very much what I like to do. I mean, now, of course, I'm working with you, which is the most fun, but as long as you follow a dream, I don't think it has to fit in a mold. Not everybody can be on the Supreme Court, but you can make a difference in one person's life. You can make difference in your children's lives. You can make a difference in your church or your synagogue. So I think it's very important to give kudos to all women who are doing what they wanted to do as children and have been able to have it happen as adults. So, I mean, I think women are terrific, and we are the backbone of society. And now, of course, I think we're the most. I know we're the most lawyers in the United States. We're probably becoming the most doctors in the United States. Women really have overcome most obstacles. There are still some probably out there, but very few.
Yeah. What barriers do you think still exist?
Well, since I'm not part of it and I don't really, Kim, I'm not that knowledgeable on barriers, but I think probably in some of the boardrooms that are still very male dominated. Wall Street has a lot of women. I don't know the ratio of how many sit on boards of large companies. But now I would say probably uh, in today's atmosphere, I think women certainly are heads of all the universities. They're running to get women. Certainly heads of the museums, which was an area that didn't have that many women as heads. I think they're looking for it. So I think we've actually broken through the barriers of most things. I don't think there's anything really left.
You're right, like definitely in the workplace, there's probably a few things. And then obviously with women's reproductive rights, it's a controversial topic, but like there's a lot to go there as well. I feel
Well,
like
I think that has to work its way through each of the states. They just came out the abortion pill, which will be a tremendous lifesaver for all people, is now going to be sold over the counter in major drugstores. That just came about this week. So I think we're going to have to figure that issue out. They're certainly not going to be able to prohibit people from getting abortions. It just might be a little more difficult depending on the state you live in. But all those things have to go through a natural progression, and hopefully we'll get to the right answers.
it's a
It's
whole
sometimes
other conversation that we
it
could
is
have for hours, but
exactly.
yeah, it's definitely unfortunate that it's difficult for anyone, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that will all come about, and as long as now, I'm very, very pleased about this new pill that an old pill, but now it's out universally in the stores, and you don't need a prescription. That's going to be a tremendous help.
That the FDA approved the pill in 1960, and women couldn't get credit cards until 1974 and couldn't vote until 1965.
That's correct.
That
That's
is
correct.
so crazy that like
I mean,
you
you can't realize that living today, that those were restrictions that women had, but women, certainly minorities, that weren't allowed to be citizens, weren't. It goes back to many things, but we're now in 2024. We've got a lot to be thankful for living in America, but we have lots of world problems and lots of problems in our own country. We don't have a secure border. We're going to have to figure that out. We have to do that. We have to get an immigration policy. We have to get a handle on women's reproductive rights. All these things are major issues. It comes about, but you got to have active young people working towards the goals. And you can't rely on 80-year-olds. That's the problem. 80-year-olds have to be retired soon. After we get this presidential thing over with, the next time it has to be young people that are getting involved. So many of the young people decided not to go into politics. They want to make more money in finance and in media and tech. And we need the best and the brightest to go into government.
What's your favorite thing about being a woman?
I love being a woman. I just think
Like that song from Bye Bye Bird.
what's my favorite? I don't think I have a favorite. I enjoy being a woman. I never felt slighted. I always felt that my children looked up to me. My husband always took care of me beautifully and respected me. So I had women's issues. I think where it happens is where partners don't respect you equally. If
Mhm.
you go into a relationship, this is very important. Especially as a young person, when my husband and I started out, we respected each other individually. We had roles in our relationship. One was not better than the other. It was just we took on separate roles and we fulfilled them. And, we did the best we could. And I think that's a very big issue today. You can't a woman shouldn't feel that they can be everything for everyone. They have to do what they're comfortable with, whether it be their career, their family, their personal relationships, their parents. It's a very hard thing being a woman and being all things to all people. So I don't think we should look to do that. I think we have to find out what's important for us
Mhm.
individually.
How do you think like is the best way to stay empowered and independent while in a relationship?
I don't know if it's empowered. I think you should be in a relationship that you like being in and that you both respect. I don't think the power dynamic works in a relationship. If it's all about power and it's all about who's in control, the relationship is doomed. I think you go into a relationship which builds and builds up into a stronger bond together. And no one partner can be in it without the other. Now, one could be making more money, one could be a better cook, one could be a better parent, and it doesn't have anything to do with your biological being. You could be a better parent as a male or a better parent as a female. It all depends, and it all should be respected if you want to have a good relationship. And that's my only advice. I really think you have to look for the right person to be a partner with, and it doesn't always match what society wants. You have to find your particular partner that
Yeah.
works for you. And equal respect has nothing to do with money. Has nothing. I mean, I happen to believe that husbands and wives should have a joint checking account and then separate checking accounts for when you want to do something maybe is a little special on your own. But I do believe that money is the root of all evil, and it shouldn't be the basis of the relationship. It makes a relationship easier if you have enough to be able to afford groceries and be able to afford your rent. There's no question that money is, in my mind, is probably the single most difficult part of a relationship when you don't have it, because you get angry with your partner. So however you work it out, whether two families, two partners have to work, or if one makes enough money, then one doesn't have to work. And it could be either the man or the woman. It doesn't, I'm not saying who's going to make the most. And then one could raise the family, or one can do whatever the other person would like them to, be a partner with. That's up to you guys. It all is a very individual thing today, because women are in the workforce, and there's no question. And it's hard to juggle all things, so you have to make concessions.
Yeah, I feel like as long as you feel happy and content
Correct.
on your own, and also find someone that makes you feel that way,
Yeah,
that is
that's the answer. That's the answer.
I was thinking as we were talking, remember that song from Bye Bye Birdie, How Lovely to Be a Woman?
Well, it
I
is
wonder,
lovely.
it is lovely. Like I love listening to that song because it's like, yeah, it's a little basic, and I don't even know if it's reverting women a little bit, but it's like, how lovely to wear mascara and smile a woman's smile. How lovely to have a figure that's round instead of flat. Wherever you hear boys whistle, you're what they're whistling at, whatever. But it's like about feeling confident and growing up, and
Happy in your own skin.
yeah, and finding, and yeah, and maybe, I don't know. It's obviously an old movie, but I feel like it's from 1960, and we can say that's our movie of the week. Bye bye.
Okay. Okay, Kim.
Another great episode of Excuse My Grandma. Hope you guys enjoyed. Follow us on social media at Excuse My Grandma, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.